Excerpts from the larger Pure Land Sutra, sections 9 through 12. Dharmākara's Bodhisattva practice, his attainment of Buddhahood, the light of Amitāyus, and the lifespan of Amitāyus. The Buddha said to Ananda, as soon as Bhikshu Dharmākara spoke those verses, the entire earth quaked in 6 ways, and a rain of wonderful flowers fell from heaven, scattering everywhere. Spontaneous music was heard, and a voice in the sky said, "Surely you will attain the highest perfect enlightenment." Then Bhikshu Dharmākara kept all those great vows, which were true, unfailing, and unsurpassed in the whole world, and intensely aspired to attain nirvana. Then Ananda, after proclaiming and establishing those universal vows in the presence of the Buddha Lokesvara Raja before the multitude of beings, Bhikshu Dharmākara was solely intent on producing a glorious and exquisite land. The Buddha land that he sought to establish was vast in extent, unsurpassed and supremely wonderful, always present and subject neither to decay nor change. During inconceivable and innumerable kalpas, he cultivated the immeasurable meritorious practices of the Bodhisattva path. He did not harbor any thought of greed, hatred, or cruelty, nor did he allow any ideas of greed, hatred, or cruelty to arise. He was unattached to any form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or idea. Possessed of the power to persevere, he did not avoid undergoing various afflictions. Having little desire for his own sake, he knew contentment. Without any impure thought, enmity, or stupidity, he dwelt continually in tranquil samadhi. His wisdom was unobstructible, and his mind free from falsehood and deceitfulness. With expressions of tenderness on his face, and with kindness in his speech, he spoke to others in consonance with their inner thoughts. Courageous and diligent, strong-willed and untiring, he devoted himself solely to the pursuit of the pure Dharma, thereby benefiting a multitude of beings. He revered the 3 treasures, respected his teachers and elders, and thus adorned his practices with a great store of merit. By so doing, he enabled sentient beings to partake of them. He dwelled in the realization that all dharmas are empty, devoid of distinctive features, and not to be sought after, and that they neither act nor arise. He thus realized that all dharmas are like magical creations. He avoided all wrong speech that would bring harm upon himself or others or both. He engaged in right speech that would bring benefit to himself or others or both. He abandoned his kingdom and renounced the throne, leaving behind wealth and sensuous pleasures. Practicing the 6 paramitas himself, he taught others to do the same. During innumerable kalpas, he accumulated merit and amassed virtues. He taught countless sentient beings and guided them on the path of highest true enlightenment. He revered and worshipped all Buddhas. Ananda asked the Buddha, has Bodhisattva Dharmākara already attained Buddhahood and then passed into nirvana, or has he not yet attained Buddhahood, or is he dwelling somewhere at present? The Buddha replied to Ananda, Bodhisattva Dharmākara has already attained Buddhahood, and is now dwelling in a Buddha land called peace and bliss. The Buddha said to Ananda, the majestic light of the Buddha Amitāyus is the most exalted. No other Buddha's light can match his. For this reason, Amitāyus is called by the following names: the Buddha of infinite light, the Buddha of boundless light, the Buddha of unhindered light, the Buddha of incomparable light, the Buddha of the light of the King of Flame, the Buddha of pure light, the Buddha of the light of joy, the Buddha of the light of wisdom, the Buddha of unceasing light, the Buddha of inconceivable light, the Buddha of ineffable light, and the Buddha of the light outshining the sun and moon. If sentient beings encounter his light, their three defilements are removed. They feel tenderness, joy, and pleasure, and good thoughts arise. If sentient beings in the three realms of suffering see his light, they will all be relieved and freed from affliction. At the end of their lives, they all reach liberation. The light of Amitāyus shines brilliantly, illuminating all the Buddha lands of the 10 directions. There is no place where it is not perceived. I am not the only one who now praises his light. All the Buddhas, Shravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas praise and glorify it in the same way. The Buddha continued, "The majestic glory of the light of Amitāyus could not be exhaustively described even if I praised it continually, day and night, for a period of 1 kalpa. The Buddha said to Ananda, "The lifespan of Amitāyus is so long that it is impossible for anyone to calculate it. To give an illustration, let us suppose that all the innumerable sentient beings in the worlds of the 10 directions were reborn in human form, and that every one became a Sravaka or Pratyeka Buddha. Even if they assembled in one place, concentrated their thoughts, and exercised the power of their wisdom to the utmost to reckon the length of the Buddha's lifespan by the number of kalpas, even after 1,000 million kalpas, they could still not reach its limit. Similarly, it is not to be encompassed by any means of reckoning or by any metaphorical expression."